The UK just announced £2.5 million in hurricane aid for Jamaica. Let that sink in for a moment. £2.5 million. After a devastating Category 5 hurricane, Hurricane Melissa, tore through the island. To give you some context, the average price of a single townhouse in some parts of London can easily top that amount. Is that what an entire nation's recovery is worth? A single piece of London real estate. It feels less like assistance and more like pocket change.
So we all know Hurricane Melissa has torn through Jamaica, right? And the UK government was asked to give relief. And 2.5 million is all the UK government could muster in terms of aid for Jamaica. Now, I don't know about you, but that is the insult of the highest level, considering that Jamaica has been part of the Commonwealth, and also considering the historical ties that Jamaica has to the UK.
Hey family, so today we are diving into something that will make you stop, make you think, and even maybe spark a little fire. Because when a major ally offers aid, but the people receiving it aren't exactly feeling the love, well, we gotta talk, because I need you to buckle up, breathe in that energy, and let's jump into it.
As a Jamaican in the UK has donated 2.5 million to Jamaica to help for aid after Hurricane Melissa. A lot of British people have said, why is the UK helping out Jamaica when the UK itself need help? A lot of uno young and uno head still stuck up in uno arsehole, so uno don't even know uno history. Go and sit down with your grandmother and your grandfather or your granduncle or your grandaunt and have a cup of tea and ask them, what do you know about Jamaica and World War II? How many Jamaicans came to help the UK? How did they help the UK? And in what sectors did they help the UK? And when did they stop helping the UK when the UK need them most? In some of the cities that were heavily bombed. What have they done for London? Who did they reach out to when the NHS need help? Who did they reach out to for the factories and all the other sectors? You see, because you're young, illiterate and ignorant, I will only see as far as your eye can see. But let me say to you guys, just sit down with your grandmother, your grandfather, your grandaunt or your granduncle and take in some vital lesson when it comes on to Jamaica and the United Kingdom.
The audacity for British people to be commenting on videos of members of parliament stating that, you know, the UK government is going to send aid to Jamaica. The audacity for them to be commenting, what do we owe Jamaica? Why can't they look over themselves? Oh, why are we always helping other countries? We need to worry about ourselves. What do you owe Jamaica? What do you owe Jamaicans? Let's think. What do you owe Jamaicans? Maybe your life. What do you owe Jamaica? What does Britain owe Jamaica? Everything. Everything. The entire population of Jamaica are descendants of slavery. Slavery that was perpetrated by the British, who kept us all on an island, decimated our identities, our souls, our languages, our spirituality, our fucking minds, our sense of selves, everything. And you're asking, what does Britain owe Jamaica? Not to mention that Jamaica is basically still a colony of England. Not to mention the Windrush generation that you brought over here to fix your blood clot economy, to fix your bumper pussy Ross clot economy, only to treat like dogs, only to spray paint wogs go home outside their doors. Real thing that happened to my family, by the way. Only to then, years later, try to revoke citizenship and deport to Jamaica when everybody who moved here from Jamaica was promised citizenship. What do we owe them? What does Britain owe them? Are you actually okay?
Hell you mean the UK only allocated $2.5 million to the relief funds for Jamaica because of Hurricane Melissa. 2.5 million. That's peanuts. Do your research. They sent in the last 3 years $60 billion to Ukraine. Don't let me get started on how much they sent to Turkey when Turkey had that earthquake, or to Pakistan when they had their floods. 2.5 million, not billion, $1 million to Jamaica. Let me preface this because of my last video by saying Jamaica don't need your help.
Family, let's look at this. The Jamaica that weathered the catastrophic blow of Hurricane Melissa, the strongest storm ever to hit the island. And according to the UK's own announcement, the United Kingdom committed 2.5 million euros in emergency humanitarian support. And for a nation battered, for communities displaced, and for infrastructure smashed, surely that's a welcome lifeline. But, and yes, there is a but here, because Jamaicans aren't exactly greeting it with open arms, and many are interpreting it as inadequate and even disrespectful, because in context, it looks like a drop in the ocean, given the scale of devastation: roads washed out, electricity gone, homes destroyed. And when you're looking across the sea to an ally who says, "We've got you with one hand, but your lived reality tells you you're still left hanging," it stings. And now let's unpack the irony. The UK announces support, while on the ground the people ask, are we being patronized, or are we being offered charity when we need partnership? So Jamaica's history as a former colony, its debt load, its long-standing call for fairer economic relationships, all this sits behind the reaction. So yes, when the check comes in and it's framed as aid rather than as solidarity, the memory of we were there before, we asked to be invited in now comes rushing back. Family, this isn't just about money, it's about dignity. And also, for the headlines reads, Jamaicans are taking it as a disgrace. They're not rejecting help, they're rejecting because they're feeling that they're being overshadowed, undervalued, threatened, treated like a charity case when they long to be an equal partner. And what this moment signals is much bigger. It draws a line from humanitarian gestures to geopolitical dynamics, from former empire to current global philanthropy, and even power balance. And when a superpower offers aid, how much of it aid is about optics? How is it much about obligation? How much is it about keeping influence alive? And so Jamaica, and by extension the entire Caribbean, it's also a reminder that recovery isn't just about rebuilding physical structures, but rebuilding economic autonomy. And so climate resilience, respect also. So when we say 2.5 million euros, we must ask, relative to what damage, relative to what historical responsibility, and relative to what future growth. And at the end of the day, family, this isn't just a news story, it's a mirror. It shows us how we talk about help, how we receive it, and how we interpret the relationship between giving and receiving. It asks us, does this aid empower, or does it pacify? Does it build capacity, or does it maintain dependency? And in that question lies the heart of the matter, because a check doesn't fix generational wounds, but a change in how we operate might. And that's the takeaway.